Have you ever wondered why you feel trapped in life? Why, despite your best efforts, it seems like something is always holding you back? You're not alone. Most people live their entire lives confined within invisible walls, walls made not of metal or stone, but of their own thoughts, beliefs, and fears. These walls, this cage, is a creation of the mind, a construct that prevents us from truly experiencing freedom. But what if I told you that this cage is an illusion? What if you could break free from it? Today, I'm going to reveal to you why the cage you've built around yourself is the very thing holding you back from living the life you've always dreamed of. This isn't just another motivational speech, it's a call to action. This is the moment to understand how to destroy the cage that's been limiting you, and how to start living in true freedom. Stay with me, because what you hear today may just be the key to unlocking the door to a whole new life. Most of us go through life without realizing that we are living within a cage built not from steel or concrete, but from the invisible walls of our own mind. These walls are not immediately visible, and they're not tangible in the traditional sense. They are formed by the thoughts we think, the beliefs we hold, and the stories we tell ourselves. They are shaped by the fears that we have, the judgments we impose on ourselves and others, and the societal expectations we feel obligated to meet. This cage is a self-imposed prison, created over time through a series of small choices, habits, and influences. The most insidious part of this cage is that we often don't even notice we are trapped inside it. We become so accustomed to its constraints that we forget what life could be like beyond the bars. The way we think, the way we speak to ourselves, and the way we approach challenges in life, all of it can be influenced by this cage. It tells us we're not good enough, that we're not capable, or that we must conform to the expectations others place on us. But the real question is, are these thoughts and beliefs truly ours, or have we inherited them from society, from past experiences, or from the people around us? The truth is that the cage is not something that is placed upon us by external forces. It is something that we create and reinforce every single day. Every time we say, I can't, or I'm not ready, or I'm not worthy, we add another layer to the walls that confine us. These invisible bars hold us back from our true potential, from the life we are capable of living. But here's the most powerful truth. Once we realize this, we can start to dismantle the cage piece by piece. The first step in breaking free is acknowledging that the cage exists, and that it's of our own making. Only then can we begin the process of freeing ourselves from the limitations we've placed on our own lives. The more we strive to control our lives, the more we find ourselves trapped in a paradox. We believe that by controlling everything, our circumstances, our relationships, our emotions, we can create the perfect life, one that is predictable, safe, and comfortable. But the irony is that the more we try to control, the more we limit ourselves. Control creates boundaries. It says, this is the way things must be. And in doing so, it forces us into a narrow perspective, leaving little room for spontaneity, growth, or transformation. We confine ourselves within the parameters of what we think is possible. This illusion of control, though comforting in its predictability, is the very thing that keeps us locked in the cage of our own making. True freedom does not come from controlling every aspect of our lives. It comes from letting go of the need to control at all. When we stop trying to manipulate every outcome and stop resisting the flow of life, we open ourselves to the possibility of something far greater than we could have ever imagined. Freedom is found not in the effort to impose our will on the world, but in the willingness to surrender to it. It is found in the ability to accept life as it comes, with all its unpredictability, chaos, and uncertainty. This doesn't mean we abandon responsibility or act recklessly. It means we release our attachment to the outcomes and stop trying to force things to happen. We allow ourselves to be in the moment, to be present, and to flow with life rather than against it. And when we do this, we realize that the very thing we've been trying to control was never within our power to begin with. The illusion of control falls away, and we are left with true freedom, the freedom to live authentically, to experience life without the constant fear of failure, and to embrace the unknown with an open heart. Awareness is the first key to unlocking the door of the cage we've built around ourselves. Without awareness, we continue to live in autopilot mode, unaware of the habits, beliefs, and patterns that guide our lives. We go through our days reacting to situations, people, and circumstances without ever stopping to question the reasons behind our reactions. This unconscious way of living keeps us firmly entrenched in our mental cages because we are not aware of the invisible walls that surround us. Once we begin to awaken to the present moment and observe our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors with a sense of curiosity, we start to gain clarity. It's as though the fog lifts and we can see the bars of our cage for the first time. Awareness allows us to recognize how we limit ourselves, how we think we are stuck or unable to change. When we start to pay attention to our internal dialogue, we notice how often we tell ourselves, "I can't," "I'm not enough," or "it's too hard." These are the words that reinforce the very cage we are trying to escape from. Awareness helps us understand the root causes of our fears, anxieties, and limitations. We begin to see that many of the beliefs we hold about ourselves are not truths, but rather constructed narratives based on past experiences or societal expectations. By becoming aware of these narratives, we can begin to challenge them. We start to realize that the cage is not as sturdy as we once believed. It is made of fragile ideas and outdated beliefs, and once we become aware of these, we can begin to dismantle them. Awareness also helps us embrace the present moment, which is where true freedom lies. When we stop living in the past or the future, when we stop dwelling on what's gone wrong or worrying about what might happen, we can experience life as it is, free from the constraints of our mental cage. Awareness is the first step to liberation, and without it, we remain blind to the opportunities and possibilities that lie just beyond the bars. Fear plays a central role in keeping us locked within the confines of our mental cage. It is fear that keeps us from stepping outside the boundaries we have created for ourselves. Fear is a powerful emotion that often feels as though it is protecting us, but in reality, it is preventing us from living fully. Fear feeds on the unknown, on the uncertainty of what lies ahead, and it convinces us that stepping outside our comfort zone is dangerous. It tells us that failure is inevitable, that we are not capable of handling the challenges that life may throw our way. But the truth is, fear is almost always a projection of something that does not actually exist. It is born from our imaginations, from thoughts about things that might happen, but have not yet happened and often never will. When we believe these projections, we allow fear to control us, and in doing so, we remain trapped in the cage of our own making. Fear can take many forms: fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. But at its core, fear is simply the mind's way of resisting change. It seeks to keep us in the familiar, the comfortable, the predictable, even if that comfort is suffocating. The key to breaking free from the cage is to acknowledge fear for what it truly is, an illusion. Once we see that fear is just a story our mind tells us, we can begin to challenge it. Instead of avoiding the things we fear, we can start to face them head on, understanding that fear is not a barrier but a sign that we are about to break through to something greater. Fear may never fully disappear, but it no longer has to control us. We can learn to step into the unknown with courage, knowing that the only way to truly free ourselves from the cage is to embrace what lies beyond it, no matter how uncertain it may seem. And in doing so, we will find that the things we feared were never as terrifying as we once believed. Imagine a life where you no longer feel confined by the mental and emotional barriers you've built over the years. A life where you are not bound by the limiting beliefs that tell you what you can and cannot do, or by the fears that prevent you from reaching for your full potential. Picture a world where you are free to express yourself authentically, to chase your dreams without hesitation, and to live in the present moment without being weighed down by the past or paralyzed by the future. This is the life that awaits you once you break free from the cage. Living without the cage means shedding the weight of self, doubt, fear, and societal expectations. It means letting go of the idea that you must constantly prove yourself to others or live up to some arbitrary standard. It is the freedom to be who you truly are without apology or fear of judgment. When you break free, you stop living for the approval of others and you start living for yourself. You trust in your own abilities and you embrace the uncertainties of life with an open heart, knowing that each moment holds endless possibilities. Without the cage, you begin to realize that failure is not something to fear but a part of the growth process. You become more resilient, more adaptable, and more willing to take risks because you understand that failure is not a reflection of your worth but a stepping stone toward mastery and self-discovery. Life without the cage is not about perfection, it is about freedom, the freedom to fail, to learn, to grow, and to live without the constant pressure of needing everything to be just right. It is about experiencing the full spectrum of human existence, embracing the highs and lows with equal grace, knowing that both are essential parts of the journey. Living without the cage means releasing the need for control and surrendering to the flow of life, trusting that the universe will guide you where you need to go. And in this surrender, you find that you are not just surviving, but thriving in a world full of endless opportunities, free from the invisible bars that once held you captive. Breaking free from the cage is not a one-time event, but a continuous journey, one that requires constant awareness and commitment to self-growth. Once we dismantle one layer of limitation, another often appears, and with each new layer there is a deeper understanding of who we truly are and what we are capable of. This journey of liberation is not linear. It is full of twists, turns, setbacks, and triumphs. But the key is that it is ongoing, and every step forward, no matter how small, brings us closer to living without the constraints of our mental and emotional cages. Each moment of awareness, each time we challenge a limiting belief or face a fear, is a victory. But the process doesn't stop there. To continue breaking free, we must learn to embrace the discomfort that comes with change. Transformation is often uncomfortable, and the unknown can feel unsettling. But it is precisely through this discomfort that we grow. As we release old patterns and beliefs, we create space for new ways of thinking, being, and experiencing the world. This continuous journey requires patience and perseverance. There will be times when we falter, when we fall back into old habits or give in to fear. But even in those moments, we are still moving forward. It is not about perfection, it is about progress, and with each step we grow stronger, more confident, and more aligned with our true self. The cage is not something that can be destroyed overnight. It is a lifelong process of releasing what no longer serves us and embracing the unknown with open arms. As we continue on this journey, we become more aware of the endless possibilities that exist beyond the bars, and with each passing day, we experience a greater sense of freedom. This journey is not just about breaking free from the cage. It is about learning to live fully, authentically, and fearlessly. And as we continue to break through the layers of limitation, we come closer and closer to the truth of who we are and the life we were always meant to live. In the end, the cage we live in is not an external force, but a creation of our own mind, shaped by the beliefs, fears, and limitations we've embraced over time. Breaking free from this cage is not a singular event, but a continuous process, one that requires self-awareness, courage, and a willingness to let go of the need for control. The freedom we seek lies not in the absence of fear or struggle, but in our ability to move beyond them, to embrace the unknown with open arms, and to trust in the journey itself. Each step we take toward freedom, no matter how small, is a step toward living a life of authenticity, possibility, and endless potential. Remember, the cage may have been built over time, but it can be dismantled just as slowly, piece by piece. The most important thing is to begin the journey and commit to it, knowing that each moment of awareness and every challenge faced brings us closer to the life we are meant to live. The cage may not disappear all at once, but with persistence it becomes weaker and weaker until one day we realize we are no longer confined by it. We are free, And in that freedom we find the true essence of who we are and the limitless possibilities that await us.